Hey everyone, this is Millennial Investor here with a quick video on how I select my notes for Lending Club. And it's a pretty simple process. Every time I gather $50 to $100 or so, in this case 119, then I go and I purchase some notes. Now I always purchase my notes manually, so I go up to the Invest tab and I go to the option that says Manual Investing. And that's just because even though I could set up automatic investing, I like to kind of think about the notes and kind of consider them before I make a purchase. So when I'm on this screen, the first thing I do is go over to not really accounts delinquent, but months since last delinquency. And I set it to 60 months or more. Preferably it should be 0. And I also go over to public records and I check exclude loans with public records because if you have a public record, that could be something like defaulting on a loan in the past, and I rather just completely eradicate those risks. So those are pretty much the only two things I've been checking for a while now. After that, I'll click the update results button and I'll be presented with a lot of notes. In the past 6 months, I feel that credit score or FICO score is a really good, strong representation of whether or not a note will pay you back. So the first thing I'll do is just kind of click on this a few times to filter to the high credit score options. Now, these are all really high credit scores, and whenever I click on one, I'm looking for the amount to be $15,000 or less. Reason for that is that if you are going to default on a loan, it's going to mess up your credit. And if I know that I'm going to mess up my credit, let's say, I'm going to try to get as much money as possible before I destroy my credit. So I feel that there's less of a chance someone's willing to destroy their credit over a smaller amount of money, although it's totally possible. So in this case, no delinquencies, none of that. This person wants $10,000 for medical expenses, but they make $9,000 a month. And $9,000 a month is a lot of money, to the point where it's like you don't need $10,000. You could easily, kind of pay that off, especially living in Oregon. It shouldn't be that expensive unless you're really bad at managing money. But according to this, they have a really low credit utilization as well. So this note's kind of too good to be true. And maybe it is true, and maybe they just want $10,000 to pay some fees or whatever. But since it's too good to be true, I'm just going to kind of skip it and jump over to this one. So it's a little less, or actually that one was better, but 6.19%. They immediately don't specify what their job is, so my job with that note is done. So now I'm in kind of the 700 sections. If you don't specify what you do, I can't make a good judgment call on your note. So I rather just kind of avoid it. So this one, driver, so I think Uber or Lyft or something like that, making $6,000 a month seems a little impractical, but let's kind of see what else there is. And there's no use of credit whatsoever. So this is another of those notes that's it's kind of a little too good to be true. So I'm just going to kind of click away. So at this point, I've kind of skipped a lot of notes, and usually I've picked up one or two by now, but if that happens, that happens. Okay, so this is a B note, and you got to be a little careful about that. Okay, they're an E5, living in California, so E5's a military pay at $3,750 a month, and everything else looks decent. So this is other. Now, in all practicality, this could be true. Now, luckily, since this is military, E5, I could pull up their salary online. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly pull up their salary. And within a quick Google search, I pulled up an E5 salary, and that's a sergeant earning $35,000, and they did specify 4 years as length of employment, so it's greater than 2 years. So I guess it's less than 2, greater than, but more than 2. So it is possible that they're earning that salary with the military. So I believe this salary and everything, and it seems like too well detailed to fabricate. And there's no issues here. That seems very practical. So this is something I'd go ahead and invest in. So that's one note. I need a couple more. 40,000 for home improvement. And this is always interesting when it's like home improvement, but you see them like renting. Like what are you buying a house? It's very not clear. So kind of dodge that one. Animal control officer, making 2,000 a year, wanting 16,000. It's not going to be very practical to pay back. Flight attendant in Florida, $29,000 in debt, and they want another 7,000. So all I'd be doing there is helping them get more in debt. So I'm going to go through a few more of these. But in all honesty, I'm not really seeing a lot of good notes right now. So this person makes 8,000 as security, 80,000 as security, working 10 plus years. It's possible. 11.05. It's possible. 3 inquiries. There's a lot of inquiries though, and if no one's giving him money or her money, then I should probably kind of avoid that one a little bit. Okay, so this is PCA, 1,600 a year. They want 10,000 to pay off a credit card. That's at 7,000. So that salary is pretty low, so I'm going to avoid it. Okay, so maybe not the best video for interrogating notes, but you kind of see what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking about. Once I've gone through all the high credit scores, what I'll do next is go by amount. So I figure if you don't have a really high credit score, maybe the amount you're asking for is so low that I'm willing to kind of like ignore the credit score to a degree. So for example, $3,000 with a 740 credit score, that's a practical amount to pay off even if you're really bad with finances. So they want $3,000 for other. They're a cook in California, but their debt to income's too high, so that one's gone. Okay, this is a 690 administrative assistant in North Carolina, and they want 3,600 to pay off some credit card debt. Okay, so this is a little risky. Less than a year, 2,400, but that's a pretty reasonable payment. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, I'll keep an eye on this note, and if it does end up messing up, I will come back and be like, yeah, that was a totally dumb move here, but you know what? It's a small amount of money. I think there's a good possibility they'll pay that back, so I'm going to go ahead and invest. Okay. This is an MET, 2 inquiries. They own a property, but they're only making 1,600, so that's going to be kind of a pass. This one's a $5,000 note, and they just need it for loans. That could be that credit card. Driver in New Jersey, 2 stars, and they're doing this thing called direct pay, which I think is better, but I'm not 100% sure. But you know, I'll go for it. It is an A. And let's get one more note. I could go for something a little bit more risky, like some car financing, but like immediately like 25,000 debt. I would just be making their situation worse off. And I'm not here to ruin anyone's lives or help them ruin their lives. I'm here to lend out money and invest money where I feel it will do the most good, and I have a high chance of, you know, getting my money back. So I'll take a look at a couple more of these, but this might be it for this video. Okay, clerk, yeah. Things aren't looking good. So I got 3 notes. You know, I'll look back here in a few more days, see what else is available, and then I'll just view my order. It'll give me some numbers here, and then I'll just go ahead and hit continue and place order. Okay, since these are notes that I kind of made for this video, I'm going to call these video 1 notes and just kind of monitor them over, you know, the next year or so and see if they were actually good investments or not. If you have any questions about how I invest or things that you do that you feel like I should be doing, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, this is the Millennial Investor signing out. Peace.